The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Former Kalibo Mayor Johnny Dayang opposes the planned expansion of casinos in Boracay. Dayang told One News that allowing casinos to operate in the island will bring more harm than good. He also said that it will not be right for the people of Aklan for the top tourist destination to be the center of casino operations. This comes after President Duterte lifted the casino ban to augment government funds.
Why introduce a harmful gambling operation in the island when it's already doing well? We have so many areas already that casino is being operated. And I think if casino will be mostly operated in the island, it will change the complexion of the islands.
Acor confirmed that the three-year-old moratorium on the new casino's license has been lifted. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez gives us a front seat to the story.
President Duterte has changed his tune about casinos on Boracay. In 2018, he shut down a plan by Macau's Galaxy Entertainment to build a $500 million casino resort on the island. But now, he says we need the money.
Patawarin na po ninyo ako for the contradiction. Ngayon po, wala tayong pera. Kung saan man tayo makakuha ng pera, kukunin ko. Kung dyan sa gambling, so be it.
Businesses in Boracay have been hit hard by the pandemic, with tourist arrivals still nowhere close to where they were before COVID-19. Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat says they've been pushing for rules to be eased soon.
Kasi ang buong Aklan is MECQ. They've been asking for a different quarantine classification. Kung pwedeng iba sila from the whole of Aklan. So if you say, let's say, pumayag, but eventually hindi pa naman na-approve yung granular lockdown, at least pwedeng hindi nakasama yung Boracay.
It's not just Boracay casinos. PAGCOR has also confirmed that the 3-year-old moratorium on new casino licenses has been lifted, which means anyone can apply to build one anywhere in the Philippines. Amid falling revenues, the government is betting on online gaming in a big way.
We are relying mostly on our online operations, which is the Pogo, the e-sabong, the online e-games, and the online e-bingo, and the junket and e-junket operations.
Duterte had famously begun his presidency declaring that he hated gambling and that he won't allow it during his term. After shutting down Boracay for 6 months for a cleanup, he said Boracay should remain casino-free.
Ngayon, kung nagkamali ako, tama yan, nagkamali ako. Kung wala akong isang salita dyan, tama yan, wala akong isang salita dyan.
I'm Pamela Vasquez and we are One News.
Now here are other stories we're following across the nation. The Internal Affairs Service of the PNP had recommended the suspension of a police officer who shot and killed a teenager with autism in Valenzuela last May. Police officer Christopher Salcedo said likely will be suspended for 40 days without pay for shooting Edwin Arnigo during a raid of an illegal cockfighting game. According to IAS Inspector General Alfergar Triambulo, their investigation showed that what happened was an accident and that Salcedo did not intend to kill Arnigo. PNP Chief Guillermo Elizar has ordered an investigation on alleged extortion activities of some police officers in Pasay City. According to Elizar, some netizens said that Pasay police officers would flag down motorists for allegedly disregarding traffic signs along Andrews Avenue. And one netizen added that the police officer threatened to put them in jail for disrespecting him. Elizar warned that he will not hesitate to sanction the police officers who are abusing their authority and taking advantage of the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 has claimed the life of another Metro Manila police officer, bringing the total number of cops who died due to the virus to 103. The 32-year-old police officer was brought to a quarantine facility in Camp Crame after testing positive for COVID-19 last August 23. However, the policeman was transferred to a hospital last Wednesday after his condition worsened, where he died on the same day due to acute respiratory failure. So far, there are around 1,800 active cases in PNP after over 230 more personnel tested positive for the virus. COMELEC urges all those who are qualified to register to vote for the 2022 elections a little over a month before the registration closes. Faith Del Mundo has the details.
Qualified voters have 32 days left to register for the 2022 elections. According to Attorney Eliza Savile David of COMELEC, around 1.3 million residents of Mindanao have registered to vote despite quarantine restrictions.
Voter registration, well, I am confident and happy to say that Mindanao is performing well. Right now, a total of newly registered voters for all the islands, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. We have, again, to be exact, 4,744,950. This is as of July 2021.
Meanwhile, newly registered voters have now reached over 4.7 million, more than COMELEC's goal of 4 million. COMELEC reminds the public that registration is open only until September 30. For senior citizens and persons with disabilities, COMELEC has launched an online renewal program. Meanwhile, on September 11, COMELEC is planning to have a synchronized registration in SM Ayala and Robinson's malls. And to encourage more people to register to vote, registration hours have been extended to until 7 p.m. from the previous 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. schedule. COMELEC calls on all eligible youths to register and urge all their friends to register too.
Because registering and voting wisely is the first step. And remember that our vote counts. So, yun.
They are also calling on mothers to persuade their children to register. And COMELEC assures the public that they are taking proper health measures to ensure the public's safety when in line for voter registration. COMELEC is now also using social media to urge people to register, as well as partnerships with other government and private organizations. For News 5, Faith Del Mundo, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Metro Manila, Laguna, and Bataan will remain under MECQ until September 7. Quarantine passes will no longer be implemented in the capital region. However, the IATF stressed that movement will be limited to accessing goods and services from permitted establishments for work and other activities allowed during the period. As for dining and personal care services, indoor and al fresco dining will still not be allowed during MECQ. Religious gatherings, meanwhile, will remain virtual until September 7. Curfew under MECQ will still be from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Hospitals, grocery stores, convenience stores, and drugstores will still be at full capacity. Lastly, individual outdoor exercises like outdoor walking, jogging, running, or biking are permitted within the individual's area. But minimum public health standards and precautions such as wearing of face masks and physical distancing must be observed. U.S. officials are bracing for more attacks on Kabul's international airport as the deadline for foreign nationals to withdraw from Afghanistan nears. But evacuations were paused last week as an explosion killed more than 100 Afghanistans and 13 U.S. service members. Let's watch this Bloomberg Quick Take.
We still believe there are credible threats. In fact, I'd say specific credible threats. And we want to make sure we're prepared for those.
They range from rocket attacks. We know that they would like to lob a rocket in there if they could. We also know they aim to get a vehicle-borne suicide attack in if they can, from a small vehicle to a large vehicle. They're working all those options.
When the ISIS and Al-Qaeda prisoners were released after the takeover of Bagram Air Force Base, then it was pretty clear that now we have thousands of people who could do harm beyond the Taliban.
We will not be deterred by terrorists. We will not let them stop our mission. We will continue the evacuation. I've also ordered my commanders to develop operational plans to strike ISIS-K assets, leadership, and facilities. We will respond with force and precision at our time, at the place we choose, in the moment of our choosing.
Right now, our focus is actually going forward, ensuring that another attack of this nature does not occur, because as you know, typically the pattern is multiple attacks, and we want to be prepared and be ready to defend against that.
Here are the biggest stories we're following across the world. Afghan evacuees continue to arrive in Virginia as the United States and its allies prepare to wrap up their evacuation operations. Reuters reports that around 105,000 Afghans have now been evacuated. U.S. military forces in Kabul are due to fully withdraw by August 31st. And Afghans trying to leave the country are finding the few remaining exits slamming shut. Several European Union countries say they have ended evacuation operations from Kabul, while U.S. said that by Monday it will prioritize the removal of its last troops and military equipment. The Palestinian refugee convicted of assassinating U.S. presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy was granted parole. Siran may be ultimately freed from prison depending on the parole board's legal staff, which has 120 days to finalize their decision. Siran is serving a life sentence for gunning down Kennedy at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles on July 5, 1968. However, he said that he had no recollection of the killing, although admitting that he fired at Kennedy due to his support for Israel. Two members of the Kennedy's family, including his son Robert F. Kennedy Jr., sent a letter to the parole board for Sirhan's release, according to Los Angeles Times. A new museum in Wisconsin features artist-built environments from urban space to rural pubs. Some of the uniquely designed personal spaces of artists featured are a house filled with thousands of biblical figurines, a tavern surrounded by sculpture accented with beer bottle glass, and a Manhattan loft lined with leather-bound books cast in colorful resin. The building's designers also tried to create an atmosphere in which visitors could feel surprise, such as stumbling upon hidden nooks as if they were discovering an artist-built environment along a wooden path or on a side of the road. And while the artists range from classically trained to self-taught, rural to urban, they're bound by one common thread: the joy of creating. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 1 in the afternoon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.